Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome to Elle's Temple. My name is Elle. I am a goddess, guide, tarot reader, and holistic healer. And today in the temple, we are having a nice cup of tea and having a sit down with the goddesses and having a bit of a chat to see what cycles are closing out, what things you are calling in, what delicious blessings and possibilities are coming in for you at the moment. So this is a timeless reading. It was going to be a sort of an Aries full moon reading, but that didn't quite happen. But it is, the goddesses want to assure you that it is a timeless reading. So whenever you are drawn to this, please just trust that there is a message for you. Now there's 4 different piles here today. Each one is sort of centered around different themes related to like life, love, creativity, the home, projects, work, things like that. So it may be that there might be more than one pile that you're drawn to because there might be different aspects of your life reflected in different piles. So just see whichever you're drawn to. Or it might be that one pile speaks to you today and then maybe in a few weeks or a few months or something you're drawn back to this reading and a different pile is speaking to you because there's another message about something else related to your life that's relevant at that time. So really you can use this reading in any which way. So I encourage you to get a cup of tea if you don't already have one, or a cup of coffee, whatever is your jam, just something nice to sit down with and relax, have a little ritual, just connect in with yourself. And once you've got that, you can pause the video if you need to see which pile you are drawn to. So this is going to be pile number 1, the Raven Goddess. If you're drawn to this gorgeous goddess, this is from the Mystic Sisters Oracle. I'll leave the names of all the decks that I'm using below, or the Amethyst Crystal. You'll be pile number 1. If you are drawn to the beautiful goddess Bast here with her gorgeous little cat, or the Sunstone Crystal, you will be pile number 2. If you are drawn to Cygnus, it reminds me a lot of Saraswati with the swans. Or the beautiful rose quartz crystal. Well, they're all beautiful crystals, but I love rose quartz. You will be pile number 3. And if you are drawn to goddess Persephone, or the peach moonstone crystal, then you will be pile number 4. So my lovelies, take a moment to check in with your intuition, see which card or which crystal you are drawn to. Take a little minute to get that cup of tea if you don't already have it, or a cup of coffee, or a glass of water or something, and get comfortable, and I will see you in your pile. Hi there, pile number 1. If you chose the Raven Goddess card or the Amethyst Crystal, this will be your pile. So I've got some oracle cards that I'm going to begin with, and then we're going to move on to some tarot to get a little bit more of an idea of specifics that might be going on for some of you. But we're going to start with the energy and look at the cycles that are closing out and the blessings and what yummy things you are calling in going forward. So to begin with, we have the Envy card from the Energy Oracle deck, which came out in reverse. This is the upright. It's card number 20. So that came out in reverse. We got the beautiful Inner High Priestess Divine Service, card number 34 from the Wild Woman Oracle. Absolutely gorgeous deck. I love this deck. It's a brand new one that I got here in Montreal, and I'm just loving it. It's so witchy and fun. Legacy of Light this is from the Alana Fairchild Sacred Rebels Oracle. We got the Appreciation card, also from the Energy Oracle deck, card number 15. And we got the Rhiannon card, Inner Strength, from the Goddesses, Gods and Guardians Oracle deck. Okay, so beautiful, beautiful cards here. Pile number 1. So what I feel is closing out for you is a cycle where I feel like it's not so much you've been in envy, it's more just that you've been in lack. That's the kind of vibe I'm picking up from many of you, that you've been, maybe some of you might have been looking a little bit at the external reality of others and being like, oh, look, like they've got this, they've got that, like, wow, you know, they've done so well. But like, it's more that you've kind of thought, well, not for me, like maybe for some people, like some people just have luck and they've just managed to do amazing things in their life. Or, you know, particularly with things like a house, or because this woman is looking out at this beautiful palace here. So for some of you, it'll be related to like a home or something. For others, it's kind of, I'm picking up a strong vibe where you have been perhaps looking at others as having a career, or sort of a sense of purpose, or a sense of recognition or status or something like that. That, you know, they've you know, just done so well in their lives. You know, they're at the top of their game. They've really built this kind of palace. You know, in regard to their career, they've climbed the ladder in whatever field it might be. They've just, you know, it's that kind of energy of like, well, they've just done really well because maybe they just had a really good start to their life. Like they just got, you know, really good education, or you know, they got a foot up because they had it's like perks or kind of privilege or something like that. So there may have been a little bit of an energy of you know, perhaps seeing what others might have had and comparing yourself. And of course, you know, we all do this, and it's really natural in this day and age, especially with social media. You know, people can portray a certain image on the outside, like this gleaming castle, like everything is roses and amazing all the time. And like, actually, that's not necessarily the reality. And of course, we do know as well that sometimes people who have lots of sort of external success on the outside, you know, may not always be very happy on the inside, and they might have other struggles going on that we don't, you know, we're just not always aware of. But the point is that you have been in and the cycle that you're closing out is being in an energy of lack, and being in an energy of thinking that those types of advantages, or skills or talent, or access to certain things, to a certain level of achievement, or whatever it might be, or, you know, even certain material things like a lovely home or something like that. You've been kind of sort of stuck maybe in loops of believing you could only get to a certain point, or that certain things were available to someone like you, is kind of the vibe I'm picking up on. But you're closing that out. You're closing out this cycle of lack and thinking you're not deserving or worthy of good things, or able to manifest good things in your life, or get to the kind of level that, you know, perhaps these people you've admired, you know, might have achieved or whatever. So that's a really amazing point to get to, because I feel like you're taking an energy which could potentially be quite destructive. Like envy as an emotion is quite draining and quite destructive, and it's sort of, it's turned against oneself, and it's kind of putting oneself down in a way, because it's sort of saying, well, I'm never going to be like those people over there, like they just have it all, and like that's it. And it's a very it's like demotivating energy. Whereas if you can turn it into, it's almost like they're saying, spirit is saying like jealousy, which also sounds like a negative emotion. But I remember hearing a talk once, or an interview with, I think it was Alana Morissette, I think it was her. And she talked about the difference between envy and jealousy. And she said that jealousy actually is not the same as envy. It's very different in that, actually, if you're kind of jealous of someone, you can sort of use that to your advantage, because jealousy is just pointing out something that you want, and something that your soul is drawn to, because you underneath it all, you know that you're actually meant for it. So it's kind of like a little energy indicator of like, hey girl, like, hey boy, like, remember this thing, like, come on, like, this is for you, like, see this person who's doing this cool thing, whatever it might be, this cool career that you think's really amazing. and you think they've like got it all, like, well, I'm here to tell you, like, you can have that, like, you can do that too, we can have it for us. Like, the reason you're feeling jealousy at all is because it's showing you that's what you really want. It's showing you that that's something you can go after. So I feel like you're in that process of flipping the script from being envious to being more jealous, like, rather than it being a demotivating energy and like, well, there's just nothing I'm good at, or there's nothing, like, I'm not deserving of these things, to like more of a motivating energy of like, like, okay, so this person's gone and done this and this, and like, well, they didn't actually necessarily have everything to start with either, and like, they've made that happen, and like, well, maybe if they made it happen, like, I can make it happen too. Like, who's to say I can't do that as well? Like, or like, that thing's really cool. Like, that person who's done that book, like, wow, that's awesome. Like, I'm so jealous they did it and they achieved it. But like, okay, well, maybe that shows that that's a possibility, that that type of topic or subject is something that people are actually interested in because it got published, and so it's an indication that maybe I could write something kind of similar. So it's that kind of vibe, it's that kind of shift that you're going through. And some of you will be at different places along that line. Like, for some of you, you'll be like, yeah, actually, I used to be really envious, but now I'm using it to my advantage, and you're already bossing it, and you're moving forward with something, and you're really like in that self-motivating energy. And for others of you, you're just kind of in the process of sort of fine-tuning that a little bit. And don't beat yourself up. Like, it's not to say like, oh my god, you've been this envious person, like, that's terrible. Like, it's a human emotion, okay? And it's completely normal. And also, in our culture, remember, social media and stuff, literally, like, people spend money trying to create algorithms and addictive type behavior on social media. So you'll spend hours on there feeling envious. That is like literally their job, is to create these types of psychological states in us. So we're very programmed to feel envy, so don't feel like, don't push it into your shadow or anything, or don't like suppress it or feel bad for it or guilty or anything. It's not about that. It's more about just acknowledging it, owning it, seeing where like actually you could just use it actually as an indicator. Like, it's just that tiny little bit of like a nudge towards like sort of using it as energy and motivation to go towards something, rather than seeing yourself as sort of unworthy of having something. Like, you can see in this case, this woman is sort of in the dark here, and so she's kind of like sort of just staying inside her like very dark kind of castle, and like, oh well, like, look at all those people out there, they kind of have everything. And it's like, if you kind of go, well, maybe, look at those people over there, they've got this and this, but like, well, maybe I could as well. Like, maybe if I start manifesting and start tapping into my intuition, and start being of service, which is the next main point that the goddess wants to point out. Because I feel like for pile 1, if you're drawn to this pile, and if you're drawn to the amethyst crystal and the raven goddess, the whole concept behind the raven goddess is being a messenger. So for some of you, you might already be on this path. You might already do it without even realizing that, like, you're the type of person who kind of gives people messages without realizing. Or some of you may already be, you might be a tarot reader, you might be, you might do like some form of divination, you might be a medium, you might speak with people's guides or ancestors or something like that, or channel, it could be all different things. And you could be doing it professionally, or you could be just doing it as a hobby, or you just do it for yourself and your friends. You could be at all different stages of that journey. But this message and this reading and this sort of blessing that you're moving into is very much a cycle of coming into like a sovereignty with that, and really owning that power. Because you can see here with the raven goddess, she looks quite blissful. She's like looking at this raven like, oh my gosh, my cute little raven, like, I love you, you're so gorgeous. And it's like it's that energy of like like she's in rapture with the raven, and the raven is symbolic of, it's a messenger animal. It goes between worlds. It shapeshifts. It can go between the spirit world and the human world and brings messages from the other side. And it's saying you are able to transmit that. You are able to be this high priestess. You can be a mediator between the spiritual world and the human world. You can bring messages of support and hope and guidance and light and whatever to other humans. That is the definition of being a priest or priestess. In obviously in religious times, that this became predominantly in most religions a male vocation, but with now, with the fall of many of these, the hold of many of these religions, the institution of many of the religions, women and men are waking up to their power to be that mediator themselves and connect with the spirit world directly without needing to go via an established, say, church or priest or whatever. It's not to say that there's anything wrong with that, and if that's what you do and you have a religion that you follow, that's great. But it's just to say that for others of you, you might have grown up in that kind of environment and it wasn't for you, and you didn't sort of resonate with that, or you didn't get it's like you wanted that immediacy of that connection with the spirit world, and you already perhaps had that. It's like you were born with this innate ability to connect with the spirit world and get those messages, so you didn't want them coming second hand rather from a priest or someone else. You could receive that divine knowing or guidance or whatever directly. Like, you are this raven goddess, you got the messages from the other side already, and you're meant to use that and be of service. You can see with this woman here, she's she's writing something. So for some of you, it could be you do these messages through writing. Maybe you have a blog or something like that. She is drawing, it looks a little bit like, it's like either a pagan wheel of the year or the zodiac wheel. Some of you might be astrologers or getting into astrology. But generally, the whole idea is like with this candlelight here, it's like you are a light, and also with this legacy of light here as well. You are this light. You are this person who can channel and mediate, like, from the higher realms, like your higher self, or this like legacy, or it's like legacy. I'm seeing is kind of it's like I'm just seeing almost like a group of angels, or like higher. I can't think of the exact term, but like angels are like higher beings, essentially. It's like, this is you being able to channel that, and this is like your inner child, like just looking really happy and just lit up, and like, yes, this is what I've always been able to do. Like, I can do this, I can do it. And I think with with the inner strength and the appreciation card here, this is something that maybe wasn't appreciated. This skill or this talent was something that either was, like I said, some of you might have grown up in a kind of traditionally religious environment. Suddenly getting a frog on my throat. I think some of you may need to do a little bit of throat chakra healing in order to express this gift, because you might have had that aspect of you blocked when you were a child, perhaps because you might have tried to tell others your little divinations that you got from the spirit realm, and somewhere along the line someone was like, stop that, like, don't, like, I'm seeing someone being like smacked for it, or like, gosh, like told off about it or something, told not to do it, or no one wants to hear that. So you might have been verbally abused around it. So you kind of really, it's like you put that gift into your shadow, which is sort of this. It's like, so you see this person's like hiding in this kind of dark castle, like, oh, well, like, I just can't, like, I can't be out in the light. There's a lot of like yellow and gold energy in this part here, which is related to the solar plexus. So your solar plexus may also require, which is your core, your gut, and it's where you shine your light from. So that might have been through energy that was kind of projected onto you from others that might have been blocked, so that you feel like you've got to stay in the shadow, in the dark, and not shine your light in that way, not speak your truth, not speak your intuition, not receive these downloads and give them to others and be of service to others. But the time now is for light workers and people who can do that to come out of the shadows and speak their truth and be of service to others, and to really to appreciate those gifts. I feel like it's like the more you appreciate the gift, the more others will start to appreciate you. You've got to see that intuition, like this woman sort of holding this flower, this very regal woman holding this flower, like this is the most beautiful thing ever. And get to the point like this woman here in the Raven Goddess of just being so enraptured with the messages that you're getting. And with Rhiannon, this sort of backs up really what I was saying about, I'm going to put that back in reverse. What I was saying about some of you who might have been, potentially abused or suppressed or told off about, using this gift when you were younger in some way. Because a lot of the story around Rhiannon is that she was really persecuted for, just things that people made up about her. And she had to leave, essentially. So some of you might have had to leave your community or your home or something like that. But she, in the process of doing that, having to leave that, she never struck. She could have, but she didn't strike back. She didn't use her energy to strike back at the people who were speaking rubbish about her. She used that energy to carve out a new life for herself and to create this beautiful new life for herself. So she really cultivated it took a lot of strength to have to walk away from all this stuff, all this gossip and things that people were saying about her that was completely incorrect. And she had to kind of start again. And so I think, the inner strength that you've had to learn through this process is going to be very beneficial to others. Like this whole, the suppression that you had to go through, and then it's like the unlearning of all that. It's like that gift has always been there within you. It's just unlearning everything that you grew up with that told you that was bad or wrong, or that you shouldn't appreciate it, or you shouldn't do it, or whatever it might be. It's like, you've got to unlearn all of that, and that requires a lot of strength. But like, you can call on Rhiannon to do that. You can call on her to move forward into this new cycle. So I really see this beautiful new cycle opening up the more you are able to like create this clear channel where you connect with your higher self. And like, because you already have that connection with the spirit realm or with your higher self, you'll be really guided as to what your next steps are, of how to become a priestess, so to speak, or how to channel for others or mediate for others, or give your guidance to others, in whichever form that is, whether it's astrology, tarot, some kind of healing, just medium work, trance work, shamanic work, crystal work, anything, but it's some kind of like mediating between the spirit world and clients, I think, or if not through direct one-to-one work with clients, then doing it through, say, a blog or a book or a platform of some sort. So I think that's all the messages from the oracle. I don't think there's actually very much else, but I'm just going to do a quick couple of cards from the tarot, just to see if there's any other messages. But I feel like it's kind of a fairly self-explanatory message there, just on those cards. So I think it'll be one of those cases where the tarot is going to probably back up everything that's been said. But let's just have a quick check in. I have a card for pile number 1. Woo! Yeah, Page of Pentacles. So just having that courage to kind of, you know, you don't have to do this quickly. Pentacles is a very steady, slow but steady, wins the race kind of energy. Like just, you know, choosing to go off in this new path. You can see he's kind of tossing a coin into the air and he's like, maybe I'll just go this way. And it's like, maybe if I just follow my intuition and just put one foot in front of the other, follow this path, like maybe that will lead me to where I want to go. So and you're just in that, you know, that page energy is a beautiful place to start, because it's a very innocent, it's almost like the Fool. It's got that energy of like, hey, why not? Like, let's just give this a go and see where it leads. And, you know, you're not going to be perfect at it immediately. You're not a master yet, but you have that within you, because you've got that connection with that higher self. So you've got that opportunity to become very sovereign in this, but it's just taking that first step initially and building towards that. Any other messages for pile 1? Amazing. Yeah. Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, it's like, what did I just say about building, like progressing up? Like, you're going to start off as the page and then you'll move to the knight, and you can see like he's having to walk here, but then here he's on a broomstick. Like, okay, maybe he's going to sort of just take off from the ground and like go that little bit further, and you'll get a little bit more stability, a little bit more security, and maybe a little bit more money from it, or whatever it might be. I do feel like this is kind of saying, for those of you who have been thinking about starting a service, like an actual service-oriented business in some sense, this is your sign to go for it. And you will be secure. You will have the stability you're looking for. You will get the money. Pentacles is about money. You know, he's got a little baby coin here. And then in this case, he's got like quite a big chunky coin here. So we'll get one more. I will laugh if the King of Pentacles comes out. Let's just see. Woo! We got, oh, beautiful, the Moon, which now she's riding on that broomstick. She is flying high. So, you know, the moon can speak of sort of illusions and stuff. I think that there is you know, in this case, this little pussycat is looking into the lake and seeing a big tiger. I don't know if you can see that very well. Sorry, there we go. And it's like, it's actually just a little cat. So it's kind of saying there are, you know, you might, in this journey, you might have some fears. There might be some things that you know, look at, and initially they seem a lot worse than they actually are. But, you know, you're going to overcome that, because right off the back of that, we got the Four of Wands, which is all about setting, I mean, it can speak of, you know, being celebrated in some way. Like in this case, they're having a big celebration outside a castle. So this could be like you know, if you go along this path and you overcome those fears and you continue to progress and grow this, you know, you will be really celebrated, and there'll be some celebration in your honor. But I feel like it's more to do with a foundation. It's like Four of Wands can speak of like really just, you know, planting those flags in the sand and being like, this is what I'm doing. This is my passion. This is me. I'm here. I'm planting that foundation. It can sometimes speak of like, you know, a home, a marriage, you know, things like that. But it's not to do with like this isn't a love reading. So my feeling is this isn't to do with, you know, a romantic partnership type of marriage. It's almost to do with a marriage to, if I can get it up, a marriage to spirit. Like a marriage to this little raven, like a symbolic marriage, you know, like being of service, like fully committing, fully planting those roots in the ground and being like, yep, this is me, this is, you know. And look at the energy in contrast to this. This was you stuck in this dark old drab falling apart castle, and now the cycle you're moving into is moving towards this Four of Wands with like, this is your castle. Like, you get this. You get this. Like, this is available to you. You don't have to be here. And I think you know that, pile 1, because it came out in reverse, which is like your, you know, that's not going to be the case for you anymore. So bravo, like the goddess is like, this is great. You're not feeling lack anymore. You're not thinking, this is available for these good things are available for everyone else, but not for you. That you're releasing that. And you're coming into this new kind of stability. So even though this is wands and not pentacles, there's a lot of stability energy here because you've got 2 pentacles cards, which is like earth energy. So you're really planting this, like you're really grounding this, it's like you're grounding your light into the earth. And I know that seems a bit woo-woo and nebulous at this point, but it's going to I'm hearing like it's going to give back. You will be celebrated for it. You will get the recognition and the status and all those things that we spoke about at the very beginning of the reading that you felt that everyone else had, or the people you've been looking at and admiring. It's like they've got this and this and this, and like, well, I'm just not cut out for it, or I'm just blah blah blah. Like, just you're done with that. You are done with that cycle. You're closing that out. And there might be little reminders along the way, or little fears you've got to overcome, and it's your own mind. The moon is like, illusions in your own mind of things like, well, maybe I can't get off the ground, maybe I won't ever make enough money from this to support myself, or what if no one likes it, or what if I get I'm hearing there's like definitely a fear for some of you around fear of prosecution. So there might be some clearing that needs to happen because there may have been something either from a past life or again from childhood, some kind of trauma that's still in your cells. So you can do energy clearing to help clear that out. Any of those kind of fears around shining your light and expressing yourself and putting your spiritual work out there in some form. But you guys are you're mediums, and I don't necessarily mean like that's not in the strict sense of like, like I see dead people. Like some of you might, and that's what you're meant to do, and great. But some of you it's more like maybe more subtle, or like you are a mediator with like people's guides. So and you probably already notice this, like when you meet certain people, you just know information about them somehow, like you pick up, because you're picking up on stuff from like their guides are kind of telling you like this person's a bit down at the moment because of this has happened, and you're like, whoa, how did I know that? Like and then they tell you like, oh, my grandfather just died, and you're like, yeah, like I sensed that someone had died, or something like that, and it's like spooky, and people might have told you about this, but you're like, oh yeah, no, that's not a thing, or like I don't want to, like you're kind of scared of it, or you don't really trust it, or you don't know where you're getting it from or why you're getting it or whatever. But you'll all be at different stages along that journey. But the point of all of this is to say, take that first step on that journey. Trust it, trust the nudges, trust the inner knowing, trust the intuition. You've got the strength to do this. Appreciate that talent, that this goddess given talent that you've got. It's you're meant to be of service in this lifetime. You really, really, really are. We need your light. You are going to leave this legacy that's very, very important. Every person who is a light worker is needed at the moment. So it's so important that you really overcome these illusions, I guess, and the fears, and start just putting that one foot in front of the other, and it will grow and it will give you the stability that you need. But it's just going to take a little bit of time, and that's okay. Like, it's okay if it takes, you might look at some people and be like, well, they've got this huge empire and like they did it in 6 months. And it's like, again, social media can be very misleading about things like that, because it can just show the end stages of someone's process and not the years and years and years of them trying all sorts of different things. And so give yourself the time to be a beginner with the page energy. Like, give yourself that opportunity to just try something and try different forms of divination maybe, or different forms of mediating, and see what fits for you. I'm hearing like some of you might want to try pendulum stuff. Some of you might want to try, is it dowsing or something? Water scrying, tarot, different things. Try out different ways. Play, you know, be the page, like be the young, innocent, you know, have that, you know, I don't know, for those of you who do yoga, you might have heard of, or Buddhism, you might have heard of beginner's mind, which is just that idea of like, even if you have been doing this for a long time, like just, you know, let go of the pressure and the expectations and just go back to that like neutral beginner mind space of like, hey, maybe I don't actually know anything. Like I'm just going to start and see where it goes, you know? So my lovelies, I'm going to leave your pile there. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel. It's been so lovely to read for you today. You guys have amazing energy. I'm so excited for all these incredible things that are coming in for you. I'm so impressed by you overcoming this envy energy. It's just so great. So hit the like button if you liked it. Hit subscribe if you want to be notified of future readings. Leave me a comment below. I read all my comments. I love hearing from you if it resonated, and I will see you in the next reading. All my love. Bye bye. Hi there, pile number 2. If you chose Goddess Bast and the Sunstone Crystal, this will be your pile. So I've got some oracle cards here to begin with, and then we're going to pull some tarot at the end to get a little bit more specific idea of different storylines going on for some of you. So to begin with, we have got the inspiration card from the Sacred Rebels Oracle deck by Alana Fairchild. I'll leave all the decks that I'm using below. We have got Woman Holding a Heart, card number 44 from the Energy Oracle deck. We've got November Sanctuary, and then the keyword is Sanctuary, which is card number 3. And this is from the Wild Woman Oracle deck, which is my latest deck, which I absolutely love. We've got Caring Connections, card number 14. Woo-hoo. Love coming in, or strengthening if you've already got love, for some of you. And Bridget, Goddess Bridget, you are a healer. So amazing message here today, very appropriate for this. If you're watching this at the moment that it's uploaded, which is mid to late October, and if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, we're about to go into winter. You know, it's quite appropriate because you can see this woman here. She is snuggled up. She's got a cat, and she's got a tea, and she's created this lovely cozy little nest for herself with lots of books and stuff like that. So and also Bast, Goddess Bast, this is the particular message for this particular mystic goddess in the deck, is talking about Bast's aspect as a goddess of nurturing and fertility and domesticity, and creating an environment that is like really nurturing, really like, you know, beautiful, fluffing out your nest, caring for others, caring connections, looking after your home, you know, getting things in order. But it's more to do with like an energy of care and coziness, and like I'm probably going to murder the pronunciation of this word. Is it hygge? Hygge? I think it's hygge or hygge. Hygge. It's that, I think is it Swedish? Extremely ignorant. I apologize, but it's that idea, you know, it's that cozy sanctuary, like creating a sanctuary. So I very much feel like there's a strong message around that's kind of the energy you're moving into. I don't really get any vibe of anything you guys are closing out in particular, unless maybe for some of you you're like, oh yeah, actually, yeah, my house is a bit of a mess. I need to sort that out and like get things in order and create a nice little sanctuary ahead of winter. That might be the only thing, but it's more about, there's different strands of different people. Some of you already have a relationship, you already have a family, you already have people you care for, and it's kind of just a little reminder to like get back in touch with that nurturing side of yourself, and that giving that care to others, ensuring that you put your oxygen mask on first, right, and care for yourself first, and create a sort of sanctuary and respite and rest and things for yourself before you care for others, and that you can give to others better if you're giving to yourself first and you're giving to others from a full cup. For others of you, you might be single and looking for a relationship, in which case, I mean, it's a similar message, because it's, you know, with women holding a heart, this is to do with like giving yourself the love that you want someone else to give to you. Like, she's got this huge heart that she's holding up, but the concept around this particular card is like, I give myself all of this huge amount of love. Like, I'm gifting this love back to me. It's like a cycle of like love that you kind of gift to yourself. And in response to that, you might end up with this, if that's what you want. If you don't want that, if you're like, ugh, you know, and I know this is a heterosexual couple, and you know, regardless of whatever sexuality, like, just take it as it resonates. You know, it's a caring connection. And again, this might not be a romantic thing. This might well be, if that's what you're calling in and manifesting, and that's what you want, it might be a romantic thing. But for others of you, it might be just a really caring connection as a friendship, or as a just within your community or your business or something like that, like caring people around you who really support you and adore you and love you. And you know, because this did come out under Bridget, you're a healer. So for some of you, this could be like, you know, you're stepping into your power as a healer, and maybe you're offering your services, healing people or something in some way. Some of you, I get the vibe you're like already doing this. Like, you already nurture others as part of your job. Like, you're like a counselor or some kind of holistic healer, or you're like a homeopath, or, you know, something like that, that's very sort of holistic and quite caring, and very like takes into account your emotional self, someone's emotional self, as part of their healing. And so I feel like you're already giving this care as part of what you do, but it's like there's this cycle you're coming into where that's going to be reciprocated. It's like the care you give out, you receive back from others. It's like a beautiful cycle. I'm seeing like a figure eight, where it's just like what goes out comes back, as above so below, that whole thing, like as within so without. It's like the more care, the more you're creating a foundation of care for yourself, and then whatever healing it is that you're offering others, the more that comes back to be reciprocated back to you. And like I said, for some of you, if what you're trying to manifest is a relationship, a committed relationship or a caring relationship, the more love that you show yourself, the more you're in the energy to manifest this. Because it's like, even things like, you know, say you want someone to bring you flowers or something. It's like, do you bring yourself flowers? Like, this was one of the things I did actually before I met my partner, who, funnily enough, after we started going out, and actually he still does, he brings me flowers. But I was single for years, by the way. I was 38 when I met my partner, and I was single for a long time before that. And one of the things I used to do was buy myself flowers, because I wanted to receive flowers when I was in a relationship with a partner. And I read somewhere something about, and one of those, you know, treat yourself like a goddess, blah, 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 blah. And of course at the time I was a bit like, I don't want to hear that. Like, whatever, like, is that really real? Well, I can tell you it is. It actually works. It is energetic. It does come back. It is a reciprocal thing. How you show love to yourself and how you treat yourself is how others will treat you. You're setting an energetic like vibe or example to others to treat you like that. And, you know, it might not happen immediately, but it will happen. So I very much see, for those of you, if you are trying to manifest a romantic, caring relationship, this October, November, or whenever you're watching this, it's a timeless reading, so it doesn't have to be for now. But if you are watching it now, you know, this time, this cozy time is very perfect for like creating this lovely domestic, nurturing, caring home environment with like all the things, you know, like I see some of you like cleaning and clearing out your room, you know, creating the kind of cozy environment you would like to have with someone else, you know, creating the types of rituals you would like to do with someone else. Like if it's like cooking a nice romantic meal, do you cook a nice romantic meal for yourself? Like, or do you just have like, you know, pizza out of a thing and, you know, whatever, and just see yourself as not really worth cooking a romantic meal for? Because again, those things happen in relationship if you're doing them for yourself. So you know, the bigger your heart is of love for you, the more love you will get from someone else, from this connection. If you're not if you're already in a relationship, this could be just a reminder to kind of like get back in touch with that like self-nurturance, you know, creating a cozy environment, like showing yourself love still, and that will help strengthen your relationship. If you're already in one, you might go through a new cycle, regeneration of feeling very close, very cared for, because you're kind of getting back in touch with like what you love, like particularly like maybe like what you love to do. Like some of you might have gone sort of too far in the other direction of like caring maybe too much for your partner, or doing things for them, or their things that they like, and you've kind of neglected yourself. So it's a strong message from the goddess to be like, hold on a minute, like don't forget about you. Like what do you like to do? What are your hobbies? What things do you love doing? How can you show yourself the love that you want to get? Because maybe like, you know, over time the relationship is, you know, like in a long-term relationship, it might have like, I don't know, maybe some of the romance, like you're like, oh, my partner never brings me flowers anymore, like, you know, and it's like, well, buy yourself flowers and show yourself little treats and little things, and do the things that you love to do, and like really carve out time with Bast and the Sanctuary card. It's like carve out the time, carve out the boundaries, like create the space within your life to do these things. And also with your healer, there might be like there might be a little bit of healing. This is also like linked with the heart chakra. There's a lot of green here. So there might be a little bit of like heart chakra healing to do, and like just going through a bit of a gentle self-nurturing, self-healing, heart chakra healing time over this time, whether you're in a relationship or not. You know, like even you can still be in a caring connection and still have some things that might come up that might need some healing, you know, some inner child stuff, some old wounds or whatever it might be. So it's kind of a message of like, you know, just be gentle on yourself this season. Like, you know, just show yourself some love, show yourself some care, show yourself some self-nurturing, get in touch with things that really nurture you deeply, on a really deep level, really nurture your heart, especially because we've got this huge giant heart here and this sort of green, you're a healer energy. With this inspiration card here, I feel like as a result of doing all of this, you will feel more inspired and more lit up. Like the more you can create a nice like sanctuary, home sanctuary environment for yourself, and that sort of little bubble of self-care, the more likely you are to feel inspired towards whatever it is that you might be wanting to do, whether it's you know, growing your business if you have some kind of business, whether it's some kind of creative project, whether it's you know, some new ideas for you know, I'm seeing like some of you planning trips with your partner, or you know, creative projects and things to do together with a partner or with friends or whatever. And again, this doesn't have to be a romantic partner. This can be friendships or just other kinds of caring connections, you know, in a community, for example, or something. Like maybe you're part of a community gardening project or something with all this like in fact, actually, yeah, there's a lot of all these flowers here, and the flowers here, it's like there's definitely this like planting seeds to see something grow, but it's like you've got to create the environment for that to happen. It's like creating the right like nurturing environment. And I'm seeing that whole experiment that was done on was it on water? I can't remember the name of the scientist now. But it was something to do with like how you speak to the water, and then when it was frozen, it like the snowflakes, the patterns of the snowflakes are the ones that were given all these loving words and terms. The snowflakes were really beautiful, but the ones that where they'd given them like words of hate, they were like all broken. So it's the vibe I'm kind of getting is this is a lot to do with like the language you use towards yourself, how you speak with yourself, how loving you are towards yourself. And like giving, you can see it's like a mind garden. It's like if you speak words of hate to yourself or self-loathing or whatever it might be, then nothing's going to grow in that. Whereas like you can create this beautiful, luxurious, not luxurious, that's not the right word, lush, lush environment for your, projects or ideas or whatever it might be. If you've got this beautiful, like nurturing garden within your mind. So I feel like it's kind of both saying like, it's that kind of idea of as within, so without, like creating an environment and a sanctuary within your mind, as well as like on the outside, within your mind, within your heart, and then like within your immediate environment. And that will lead to these like relationships that you want to have. It will lead to the kind of creative projects you want to have. Because with Bridget here as well, even though it's the phrase on here is you are a healer, Bridget to me is very much a goddess of creativity. She's the sort of she's the goddess who stokes those creative fires and gets those creative juices going, and helps you get like that fire in your belly to get those creative projects, like whatever it is. Like she's also a goddess of like poetry and writing and things like that as well. So and crafts and I think it's like metalwork and woodwork and all these kind of creative things. So if you're into any kind of making stuff or creativity, like she is saying, that will be very healing for you and very helpful for you, and something you need to get back in touch with if you're not already doing it. This is like part of this this environment is creating this like sanctuary where you can do your crafts, you can do your things that you make, you can do your creative projects. You'll have a lot of inspiration if you kind of create this beautiful environment. With Bast, it was like, it said something in the book about like fluffing your nest out. So it's like really creating a beautiful nest for yourself, really nesting over this next season, so that you can heal, you can feel at peace and rested, and you can have some inspiration for some more creative projects down the line. So I'm going to pull a few cards from the Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot. I have already shuffled these, so I'm just going to go straight in and woo. Oh wow, Eight of Swords. Yeah, so for some of you, I think this is linked with why this card is here, is like this is to do with like how you've been speaking with yourself and like not seeing your value. So because Eight of Swords speaks of like that, like a self-imposed restriction, so it's kind of like not really seeing how to get out of your own kind of prison. So maybe some of you might feel a bit trapped in your home or a bit like stuck in some way, and you sort of feel really like congested by your environment or something. So it's really important to like energy cleanse your environment. You can do that with like crystals, candles, Palo Santo sticks, sage smudging. Even if you don't have access to any of those things, even like there's music on YouTube, you can look up like energy cleansing music, and you can leave the music on in the room, and that helps. There's like a Tibetan, I think it is, singing bowls one that's really amazing. I can link it below. And it helps like clear kind of the aura or the energy of the room, because I feel like with some of you, there's some sort of energy congestion or something that's like creating, it's something to do with like your environment. your immediate environment, and also kind of like swords are to do with thoughts, so it's also to do with the thoughts that you're thinking and the things you're telling yourself, because there was a very strong message of like, speak lovingly to yourself, you know, show yourself some love, show yourself the love that you want to receive, speak to yourself with care, nurture yourself, you know. And it's kind of the opposite of Eight of Swords, like, you know, come out of that mental thought prison, like you're putting those barriers up, you know, in your way. And if you can bring those down, you know, you can create this beautiful garden. Let's see if there's any other messages. I'm feeling this one. Four of Wands, yeah. Creating an environment, like creating a foundation, creating, it's funny because the pile number one got Four of Wands as well, so there may be some messages in there for some of you as well. But yeah, it's like, it's this beautiful, like this archway with a gorgeous flowers, you know. There's so much with the flowers, like, you know, this woman's got like flowers in her hair, there's flowers all around her head here, there's like this almost like a garland at the top of this foundation. So really creating that like beautiful stability, security in your home, that will really help, so that you can like grow a garden, maybe even doing gardening for some of you. I know it's probably not really the time of year, because we are going, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, it's probably not the time of year. If you're elsewhere, you might be able to do some gardening, maybe getting involved in a community garden project or something. In fact, that could be where you meet someone. If you're single and you're looking to meet somebody, you know, showing care to the environment in some way could be, or something to do with being out in nature or greenery, could be something where like you might meet someone, you know. So maybe just kind of see what comes of that. Like if you feel called to help, like maybe you see some kind of community gardening project or community flower thing or something like that. I don't know, that's quite a specific message. That might only be for like one person, but like just see what kind of comes up, because there's something around kind of like growing things, like planting seeds and seeing them grow. So some of you, that might be your job, you might be a gardener or something, but I feel like that's the bottom of the deck. Yeah, Four of Pentacles. Yeah, I see this in this case. I feel like this is to do with like treasuring yourself. In some cases, it can be to do with like hoarding or holding on to something or clinging or being possessive. But I feel like in this case, the way it's, again, with the garden, huge, beautiful garden at the bottom, and this person's growing out of the garden and they're holding these like 4 coins, like jewels outside of themselves. It's like, see yourself as treasure is the kind of vibe I'm getting. Like, see yourself as worthy. This is quite a specific message. I think it's to do with those of you who are perhaps single and looking for a romantic partner. This is to do with like stepping out of this process of like what you're closing out is seeing yourself as not worthy of something, because it's like these are just beliefs or thought processes. You've just put something in you thought this over and over again in your brain, like, oh, I'm not worthy of this, like I'm never going to have this, I'm never going to meet my person, or I'm never going to have a relationship like that. Or maybe you're in a partnership but it's not going very well, or it's not very caring, because it's energetically kind of reflecting what you've been telling yourself. So maybe if you've been giving yourself a lot of like negative self-talk, then you might be receiving that from your person, that kind of like energetically picking up on a sort of, again, it's like kind of negativity in your aura. I feel like energy cleansing is really, really, really important for you. Cleaning your environment, cleaning and clearing, energetically cleaning and clearing like yourself, your aura, your mind, your thoughts, as well as your environment is really, really important. creating like a mind garden, like being very careful of what you're feeding your mind garden and watering your mind garden with love, you know, not with horrible things that you might have been saying to yourself, you know, seeing yourself as the treasure that you really are, because you're worthy of being held on to. It's the kind of vibe I'm getting. It's like you're worthy of being committed to and like attached to, but that word can be a little bit problematic. So not attached in an anxious way, attached in a committed, caring way is the vibe that we're picking up, that we're trying to go for here, right? You know, you don't want your person to be anxiously attached, because that's not healthy either. But it's like you're trying to create a vibe of like you're cherished. That's a better word. You're cherished and you're a treasure and you're worth holding on to, because Four of Pentacles is like about holding on to something and not wanting to let it go. And like you can see, look at this guy. I mean, this card is perfect to go with this. Like, look how he's like holding on to it. He's like, I'm not gonna let you go. I'm not gonna let you go ever. Like, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you know. But like, do you tell yourself that? Right? Like, what do you want to hear? Okay, a little mini coaching session quickly before we move on to pile 3. What do you want to hear from your partner? You know, what do you want to hear? Like, tell me, or like, right, like, don't tell me. Don't put it on social media. Put it in your journal or write it down somewhere, you know. Write down what things you want to hear, and actually write it down and put it next to your bed and read it to yourself every night. And I guarantee you will find someone. I guarantee you will find someone, and they will say the same things, and it will be so spooky. They will say the same things that you've been telling yourself, like almost word for word, but with slight variations. And you'll be like, what? Like, that's crazy. He just told me he thought I was, you know, whatever it is. Like, if you're like, I want him to say I'm a treasure and he never wants to let me go. So you write every night, or you say to yourself every night, I am a treasure and I will never let myself go. You know, and I do not mean that in a looks way. Like, I mean that in a, like, I will always care for myself. I will always love myself. I will always show myself love and nurturance. Then, you know, and again, like, you can even do this if you're in a relationship. Like, for some of you, I picked up, you know, you might already be married or whatever. And this is all to do with, like, you know, self-care. You can still do that. You can still show yourself this love anyway, and it will help spill out into all your relationships. You know, even with your family. Like, if you're kind of frazzled and frustrated and not really doing anything for yourself or doing things that you love or whatever, you know, then you might be getting and feeling resentful because you're giving from kind of an empty cup, right? You know, it might be that there's a need to kind of like reconnect with showing yourself some love. I just feel like I keep coming back to this card, and like, Spirit really wants me to like drive this home. Like, give yourself the love that you want to receive from others, whether it's, you know, like family or friends or whatever. Okay, my lovelies, I am going to leave your pile there. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your likes, for your subscribes. Thank you for supporting the channel. Please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to be notified when I upload a new reading. Leave a comment. I do read all my comments. I love hearing from you if this pile resonated. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next reading. All my love. Bye-bye. Hi there, pile number 3. If you chose Goddess Cygnus here and the Rose Quartz Crystal, this will be your pile. So I've got some oracle cards here to begin with, and then I will pull a few tarot cards at the end to get a bit more of a specific storyline of what's going on. But to begin with, to look at the energies and what you're moving out of and what you're moving into. We've got card number 9 from the Energy Oracle deck, Broken Heart. Oh, I'm so sorry, pile 3. If you are going through this, I can feel it. I felt it when I first pulled your cards. But do not, I mean, I really empathize with you. I know this is not an easy energy to be in at all. We've got Freya here, Lady of Love and War, self-love, with a message of self-love. Hold that up to the camera a bit so you can see. Very powerful goddess Freya. She is here to help you through this broken heart. We've got from the Sacred Rebels Oracle, she feels, she knows. Gorgeous. And then, incredibly, we've got 2 cards about patience from the Energy Oracle, card number 16, Patience. And also from the Goddesses, Gods and Guardians deck, we've got Baba Yaga with Patience as well. So, my lovelies, pile number 3. Oof. You guys have been going through it. The cycle that you are closing out is, I feel like, one of some kind of relationship or holding on to someone, because with the Cygnus card, this is to do with like the swan, this whole idea of the swan song, and like swans only sing a song kind of just before they die, and it's to do with like release, surrender, letting something go with grace, honoring the ending of something. So for some of you, you may already know this. It may be that you have already gone through a breakup, or you have already ended something, or you know that you need to end it, or whatever it might be. For others of you, this is kind of a sign that's sort of giving you that like little nudge, like a little gentle nudge from the universe to kind of let go gracefully, to let go with grace, with honor, to like the something that it's like to do with some kind of person or idea that you've been holding on to, that you've been holding close to your heart, to let it go. And I know that this is created, or the fact that you need to do this is creating this broken heart for you, because it's something you've, I'm just seeing a lot of sorrow. There's this tear coming out of this heart. Oh, I can feel it. Oh my gosh. I just feel this really, really intense energy in my heart chakra, this huge weight. But I'm being drawn to, I am going to come back to all these cards, but I'm just being drawn all the way over here to say that, and I know it's really cliche to say this, but like time is going to heal this. Like she's got a clock around her heart chakra here, and there's a lot of gold kind of coming out. It's like there's this angel that's telling you to be patient with your healing, because I feel like you're going to split into 2 camps. Maybe some of you have already gone through this, so you've already ended something, you already knew it had to end, you know, and you're going through the healing and the mending of your broken heart, and the guidance is to kind of have patience with that process, because your heart will be mended, you will be healed. But it's like a time heals all wounds kind of a thing. It's just the nature of this sort of thing, that it's just going to take a little bit of time, but your heart will be healed. To have faith that it will be healed. For others of you, you might be in the very initial stages of this, or just facing up to the fact that you do need to let something go. I feel like with Freya, I am being guided actually to read some of the message in the book, because Freya, Lady of Love and War, part of the message, and I'll read it directly, because it spoke about codependency, and it says, how can I bring greater harmony between the lover and the warrior archetypes within myself to ensure I am neither losing myself in another nor closing myself off to the love I deserve? And the message is, as women, too often we sacrifice our true needs and desires and lose ourselves in our romantic partners. While it is only natural to want to love and be loved by another, Freya reminds you that you have a responsibility to love yourself first, as how you treat yourself truly does set the standard for how others, especially romantic partners, will treat you. Yeah, so I'll just see if there was any other messages about the symbolism. Yeah, so as a goddess of love, Freya knows that she is worthy of being loved and desired, and she seeks to unite with the other and to truly know and be known. As the goddess of war, Freya is focused and self-aware and doesn't allow others to divert her attention away from what is truly meaningful to her. although she accepts that she is a relational being, she will readily use her sword to cut away codependent, unhealthy bonds and her shield to set uncompromising boundaries. Because at the end of the day, the warrior in Freya loves herself enough to protect, honor, and fight for herself first. And with this, she feels she knows. It's like, I feel like some of you perhaps were in a connection where you kind of know, you felt that it needed to end, or this cycle needed to close out, because you could feel it's like you felt that it wasn't really quite right in some way. Like either it was a bit codependent, or you'd lost yourself, there weren't healthy boundaries, you'd lost that strong connection with yourself, you weren't really fighting for yourself, you weren't putting yourself first or your needs first. There's something around not honoring yourself or something. I feel like with this woman here, I've not really noticed this before, but it's like she's been crying her eyes out. It's like, and with this broken heart, with this tear coming out, it's like the connection itself was when you really face it, it was causing you a lot of upset, because in some way you weren't really being completely true to yourself, or you were, it's like part of the broken heart is crying over your own self and the self that you lost in this relationship. So part of the patience is to do with not only healing the broken heart in terms of the loss of the person and the needing to surrender that and let it go, but healing a cycle of codependency and coming back into this like warrior side of yourself, like fighting for your I'm hearing like right to exist. So some of you might have been in a narcissistic relationship, which that's another whole thing, and that does tend to create codependent dynamics, because of just the nature of the dynamic. When you have a narcissistic empathic connection, it creates it's just the nature of that type of dynamic. It creates a codependent connection, because both parties are kind of dependent on each other for different things. So if you really face up to it, it's like you were upset, or like you weren't really being honored throughout the relationship anyway, so it needed to be cut away. You need to surrender this person, this connection, in order to like find yourself again, like fight for your right to exist, because for some reason you were left feeling like you didn't have that right. For some reason you were really, it sounds like it was quite an abusive connection in some ways. For some of you, obviously, that won't resonate for all of you. For some of you, it could have just been someone who just wasn't emotionally available, or someone who, it was a beautiful connection while it lasted, and now it's just time to move on. For whatever reason, you're going in different directions, and maybe it's quite an amicable breakup, but you're still brokenhearted over it, because it's still upsetting to lose someone, right? Like, it'll be different for all of you. Like, I'm not saying, oh, if you've just gone through a breakup, this person was a narcissist. No, like, absolutely not. And obviously that term gets bandied about a lot on social media, and it isn't always the case. But, for those of you that know what it is, and you feel like you have been the victim of some form of abuse from someone with narcissistic personality disorder, or something along those lines, that type of dynamic where you felt like you didn't have a right to stand up for yourself, for your needs, for your a right to exist. You were belittled, you were told you're not worth anything. I am kind of getting this vibe that some of you might have been in something quite abusive. The sort of the energy coming off that I'm picking up in this case, in this reading from this card, is that kind of, it's like her spirit is kind of bruised. But I do feel like with that she feels, she knows, it's like you knew. If you look back on it, in a way, you kind of knew what was going on, and you knew you were sort of losing the connection to yourself, and you knew that maybe it was a bit codependent, or there was part of you that knew, but like you couldn't really own up to it until now, until you've had your heart broken and you've got out of it and you can see a little bit more clearly. I think there might be something in the 1 second, sorry, I think there's something in the Baba Yaga message as well up to, that might be quite healing. Where are we? Yeah, okay, yeah, the midwifing. The situation or relationship you're involved in won't respond to anxious pushing and prodding. Leave things alone for a while. Time and space are needed for this issue to heal, develop, or come to fruition. She's inviting you to build something of quality, of real substance, something that endures. Yeah, true healing and spiritual growth take time. I trust in the divine process. Yeah, sorry, I'm picking up because I'm getting a few different messages for different groups of people. Some of you, this wasn't an abusive connection, and actually maybe there's a message around like the season or the timing for the connection is not quite right, or it's like you've been wanting something to happen or been holding on to something, wishing that something would happen with someone, but it's just not the right timing for it to happen. That doesn't mean that it will never happen, but there's just some patience required, because maybe if you keep anxiously waiting and like putting pressure on it, and like, you know, checking in with the universe and watching hundreds of love readings and being like, where is he or she, or why hasn't this happened yet, or why, like, you know, I did a reading and they said that they were going to be here by now, we were going to be together by now, or whatever it might be. If there's that like need for gratification, then it's like, whoa, this is not the time. Like, stop pushing. Like, you're trying to make something happen. You need to surrender, release, let it go, move on, focus on something else completely. And in divine timing, it will come about. It will happen when the timing is right for it to happen. So either way, it's a letting go and it's a complete surrendering, as if it's just totally off the table. That for some reason that needs to be the kind of energy, and there needs to be a like letting go, grieving, walking away completely, loving yourself. That's really, this is the most important message of all is fighting for yourself and loving yourself, no matter where you're at on the spectrum of whatever the connection was. Whether you're, it's just not quite the right timing for something and you need to let it go for now because maybe it'll come about. But for most of you, I feel like it's more to do with healing in terms of if it was an abusive connection, it's like that needed to happen to midwife your spiritual growth. Like, the intuitions that you had about this connection as you were in it, and the fact that you were losing yourself and you let that, no, that's not quite right, Spirit. I don't want to say you let that happen. It's like you let that happen, but you needed to let it happen. It's like that was part of the journey, because you needed to go through that to midwife your rebirth. It's like I picked up on a vibe of someone saying something like, I didn't have the right to exist. So like, you know, which is, there's some kind of narcissistic thing going on there, because if someone's telling you like you don't have the right to exist, you don't have the right to take up space or whatever, that tends to come from that type of dynamic. Or it could just be someone who's very verbally abusive and whatever. The point is that your soul chose this connection, as horrible as that sounds and as horrible as that may be. Before you incarnated, your soul chooses the people that it needs to connect with in order to grow the fastest. So I have been through that type of connection. It wasn't physically abusive, but it was narcissistic abuse. And I was codependent in that relationship. I couldn't leave. It took, I was in it for a year. But it took a year to kind of, and I knew, like I knew when I was in it, there were loads of red flags and there were loads of ways I was giving myself, like being, trying to make it work, trying to put, their needs above my own. And I can tell you now that it was the most steepest but effective learning curve in terms of like midwifing my soul growth, because the strength that I had to cultivate within myself to get myself out of that addictive relationship, because codependent and narcissistic or empath narcissist dynamics are extremely addictive, usually, like extremely difficult to prise yourself away from. They're just highly, highly, highly toxic and highly, highly addictive. And the strength that I had to cultivate to walk away from that was only possible through like my spiritual connection, and it really deepened that so much. Like I cultivated this sense of self-love that was unshakable after that experience, because I hadn't honored that when I was in the connection. I had to learn to fight for myself, and I still do to an extent. Like it's not like you go through the lesson once and then you just learn all of it and then you're just fine forever. Like it's like there's certain aspects that there's certain lessons that evolve and you learn deeper over time. But in terms of like, rebirthing yourself and midwifing your spiritual growth, this situation needed to happen. This broken heart needed to happen to kind of rebuild yourself, to rebirth yourself, to midwife your soul growth, and to find yourself again and fight for yourself again, and to create that, like the aspect of Freya as in her goddess of war aspect within yourself, so that you've got those really strong boundaries so that you don't attract that type of dynamic again, and you can only allow loving connections in, which I am here to tell you I did eventually after years and years of healing and then manifesting work. I have manifested a non-narcissistic, very loving, caring partner. So if you are coming out of a broken heart and you're like, I need to go back to this person, there's no one else and no one else will love me. No. Walk away from this. You deserve so much more. You do not deserve this. This was just a soul lesson. This is not your person. If it was abusive. For those of you where it wasn't abusive at all, and it was just, maybe you weren't even in a relationship with them, it was just someone you were holding hope that something might happen and you were just gripping onto it for a really long time. And the message is to just release and surrender and just trust in divine timing. If it was not abusive, because we do not condone abuse here under any circumstances, right? Self-love, self-respect, no abuse. So if there was no abuse whatsoever and it was just like you're brokenhearted because you had your sights set on someone, you had your hopes set on someone, and then now they are off the table, so to speak, like they're coupled up with someone else. Self-love still self-love. Show yourself the love that you want to receive from others, and give it time and patience to evolve, whether it's with that person or it could just be the characteristics of that person will come about in a different dynamic with someone else. The universe will always, like, you're not going to miss out on what's meant for you. Like, you might have really held on to this person thinking like, that's my person, that's my only chance at love, and now they've like gone off and married someone else. And like I get that. Like, I have been there in the past with people I've had connections with, and I believed strongly that was my soulmate or whatever, or some readers told you it's your twin flame or whatever. It's not like I mean, maybe, and maybe they will come around, like with patience, like it will evolve. And like part of the message from the Baba Yaga was like, stop anxiously pushing the situation to happen. And when you let go, what you let go, if it comes back to you, it's yours. So like if you, yeah, if you can like honor the timing, the divine timing of the universe, you will either get that connection or something better back. And usually it's something better. It's something that you didn't even imagine, because you're so fixated on this person. You're so like, you're holding on to this so tightly that like you can't even see that the universe has this whole other amazing connection for you that's beautiful, just around the corner. Like just around the corner, if once you've healed your heart and grieved and released this and surrendered it with grace and honored it, you know. And you might be saying, I'm sort of picking up a vibe of someone being like, but they were so amazing because XYZ, like they were into all the same things that I'm into, or you know, they loved, you know, I don't know, tarot or something. What, you know, I don't know, like just something that you love all the same TV programs, or you just have some really special connection, and you had, you know, you stayed up talking till late at night, and like that's great. Like focus on those things that like you want to carry into another relationship. Like, okay, well, what were the good things about this connection? You know, what were the things that made this person feel like they were like this undying soulmate? It's like, it's not to knock that. I'm not trying to like say, we're not trying to say here like, oh well, that's ridiculous, like you should just, you know, forget about them and like move on, like what's wrong with you, just move on. Like, no, we're not saying that. We're saying like, sure, like you loved them, you cared for them, you had high hopes that things would work out. What were the elements of that person or their personality or your connection specifically that you loved? Focus on like cultivating those things within yourself and with your own connection with yourself and with others, getting that sort of reciprocation from other people. I know it will feel like you can't right now, but just try. Trust the universe that like you can receive that or something better, and like write down what the things are, you know, like script it, journal it, like write all the things. If that person provided certain things for you, showed you certain elements of a connection that you're like, oh my gosh, I had this amazing spiritual connection with them, or I had this amazing like heart to heart connection with them, I'd never had that before. Like write those things down so you're getting really clear on what you want to call in for your next connection, whether it's with them if the timing is right, and you know, you've surrendered it, and then if it comes back to you, great, or something better. Trust me, something a bit like you won't get less. It's not like you're being told to let this go and surrender this because there's some crap person around the corner. You know, like it's not, it doesn't work like that. Like if this person's been brought into your life, like there's a reason for that, you know. But it's not to fixate on them. There's definitely a strong message of like finding yourself again, finding self-love. Rose quartz crystal could be really useful for that. Healing the wounds of your heart, and trusting the universe, surrendering to the flow of the people. And I know like as a reader, that's very easy to say, and it's a lot harder to do. And believe me, I have gone through these cycles so many times. I'm fortunate enough to be in a loving, caring, committed partnership now, but I'm 40. It took me till I was 38. 38 to find my person, and I went through broken hearts. I went through connections that I thought were like twin flames, soulmates, blah blah blah, and then nothing happened. I went through narcissistic, abusive relationships. I went through it all. You know, I've been there, I've done that. Like, so I feel your pain. I do. I feel your pain and I empathize. But I want to sort of say to you from further down the track, as someone who's kind of healed from that, and you know, midwifed myself like Baba Yaga through that painful process. This is an opportunity for you to like find yourself again and love yourself again. And the more like the Freya message said, show yourself the love that you want to get from others. You set an example of how to treat yourself, how you treat yourself is how others will treat you. So if for some reason you were the recipient of some form of neglect, abuse, abandonment, betrayal, it's difficult to do, but the work starts once you've surrendered and released and grieved the release of this person. The work is around like, turning it back towards yourself. How have I been self-abusing, abandoning myself, not honoring my boundaries, not respecting myself, not loving myself, not doing the things that I love? You know, that's Freya's message, self-love. And I know this has been a tough message because the guides that are coming through are like, they're tough love guides, right? And it's hard to hear, and sometimes it's just nice to hear, to drown yourself in lots of messages from readers being like, they're gonna come back and like blah blah blah. But it's like, that's not actually what you need to hear right now. Your guides are very firmly saying, like, lovingly and firmly saying, this is the time to midwife your growth and your self-love and heal yourself and have patience and trust that the right person is around the corner for you. I have been there. I have done it. I'm testament to the fact that you can do it. You can get through this. You will heal your broken heart. It feels horrible and painful now, I know, but you know, you will be able to, actually, I'm going to guide it to a different deck, 1 second. You will be able to feel so much better soon. Like, it feels really shitty right now, I know, but like clinging on to it and anxiously hoping it will either fix itself if it is an abusive situation, or if it's someone who isn't interested in you romantically right now and you're trying to pursue it and you're trying to get that gratification from them, then like it's going to cause you pain either way. And it's just really important to kind of focus on the self-love big time right now. Is there tarot messages? Let me just see. I think maybe this deck. Okay. The Star. Yeah, beautiful. Cottonwood, healing. And also destiny. The Star can be to do with like destiny and timing. And like it's like confirmation that this was sort of destined to happen. Like it was your soul path that called this experience forth. As horrible as that is, and as much as you can be like, well, no one calls forth abuse. Well, sometimes your soul will agree on, like I said, on a way to make you wake up and love yourself in whatever is the fastest, most intense, most efficient way of getting you to do that. And sometimes that's experiencing a relationship where you don't receive the love that you want and you are treated terribly, and that can be the pain that is enough of a wake-up call to find that within yourself, because you were looking for it on the outside when it needs to come from within. And when you have it from within, then it gets reflected on the outside. As within, so without. So it's kind of a further confirmation of like healing. What's destined to be will be. If this is meant to come back around in a different form, it will, but trust in divine timing, trust in the process, trust in what is destined for you. If it's meant for you, it will return. Although if it was abusive, then, you know, obviously people do heal as well. So, you know, it's different. It's going to be different for all of you. Like if it returns and it's a different thing, but I'm kind of getting from for most of you, like if it was an abusive connection, like you might think you want it back now, but actually once you found this self-love and this sort of warrior goddess part of yourself again, you won't believe that you need to be abused in order to receive love. You will have strong boundaries. You can see she's got her, this shield up. It's like you will know what you deserve. And so maybe you think you want this person to come back, but then they will come back around in like 9 months or a year or something, and you're a completely different person, and you've got like really strong boundaries, and you're really self-loving and self-respecting, and you don't put up with being belittled or talked down to, and they try some of their old tricks on you, and then you're like, actually, nah, you know what? No, I don't. You're not meant for me, and you'll probably find your vibe will attract like a new person. Your new sense of self-love will attract someone else that will reciprocate that love that you're showing to yourself. But it's just releasing, surrendering, trusting in what is meant to be. Any other messages for pile 3? Ooh. Yeah, awakening. Wowza. What did I say? Awakening. Soul midwiving. Baba Yaga is here to, and this pain and this heartbreak is here to awaken you. It's here to wake you up to who you really are. It's here to wake you up to loving yourself and setting healthy boundaries for yourself. It's a very like soul directed thing, as much as it feels like, how can this be soul directed? How can this be something my soul chose? It doesn't feel like that now, but it will down the line feel like, actually, and this is from someone who had this type of connection 7 years ago. When you like now, I'm grateful for that connection, and I'm grateful for the heartbreak because I found that warrior self, and it woke me up. It woke me up so fast. I thought I was kind of awake before that, but no. This heartbreak and this dynamic was the thing that woke me up big time, like bigger than anything else. It was the most like profound dynamic. It was soul directed. I truly believe that. And also, in the healing work that I do with many people, I often attract women in particular, and some men as well, actually, who have gone through these types of dynamics. I do holistic healing sessions as well, by the way. Because it woke me up to having to create that self-love from within. And I very much believe that I was, my soul chose that experience in order to awaken me, and to find that strength and that self-love. Bottom of the deck, the Empress. Rose. Yeah. Rose quartz. Yeah, there's chilies on this card. Interesting. There's like a heart that's made of honeycomb, but then there's like these chilies here, which is like, spice, which I feel like is kind of that whole the spice of life, in the sense that, like, this dynamic that was painful was like, like sometimes if you overeat too much spice, it can be like fiery, right? And it can hurt. And it's like, it's kind of like, it's woven into this, the chilies are kind of woven into this like necklace. It's like you're going to wear it, the pain. It's like you're going to wear not the pain, the lessons that you learned you're going to wear it in your heart. It's like a fire, an alchemical fire that needed to like cleanse out your heart, and awaken you to who you truly are, which is the Empress. You're worthy of true love without needing to sacrifice yourself, without needing to be belittled or abused or verbally spoken down to or anything like that, whatever it was that you went through. You know, you are the Empress. The Empress very much knows her worth. She knows her values. She knows who she is. She's very connected with her feminine qualities, but she's an Empress, right? She doesn't need to take on like jokers, you know. So you will be, this whole process is like, it's destined to awaken you to who you truly are as an Empress. To, you know, it's like this whole broken heart is midwifing you to become the Empress that you truly are. Yeah, this is really beautiful energy, like with the rose petals and the honeycomb and the blossom there. It's like you're going to really blossom eventually through this process. And even for those of you who, where it wasn't an abusive connection you went through, it was just someone that you couldn't have for some reason because the timing wasn't right or whatever, it's still a case of like finding, you know, that was destined to happen so that you could find your self-love, awaken, you know, awaken to what you want in a connection, and see yourself as that Empress anyway, and see yourself as worthy of that type of connection with whether it's that person or someone better. Okay, so my lovelies, I'm going to leave it there. I feel like that's all the messages I have for you today. I know that was a tough love reading. I'm sorry if that came out quite strong, but some of your guides I got through that they wanted that like tough love right now, because it's really, they want you to heal. They want you to see yourself as the Empress and the goddess that you really are. So it's coming from a place of love, even though it feels a bit telly-offy, so I apologize for that. But thank you so much for being here. Please leave a comment below if it resonated. Thank you for your likes, for your subscribes. Please hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I upload another reading. And all my love to you, all my strength and healing and everything to you to midwife yourself through this healing process that you're going through. Definitely get yourself some rose quartz if you don't already have some already. That'll be extremely healing for your heart. You can literally just hold rose quartz over your heart chakra for like 20 minutes and it will really help soothe that pain. And, you know, if you have been through something abusive, then speak with a professional or someone trusted that can help you hold space to heal that, or go out in nature if that is something that, you know, will help you feel nurtured. Just do whatever you can to nurture yourself through this time. And yes, that's all. I will see you in the next reading. All my love. Bye-bye. Take care. Hi there, pile number 4. If you chose the Persephone card, I'm just going to move the light up a little bit. And the Peach Moonstone Crystal, this is your pile. Welcome. So I've got some oracle cards to begin with, and then we will pull some tarot to get a little bit more of a specific storyline. So, whoops, I'll go this way around. So from the Sacred Rebels Oracle, we've got New Birth, Guarded Vigilantly. We've got the Hostilities card, which came out in reverse. We've got the Creatrix, card number 10, Creativity. This is from the Wild Woman Oracle deck. We've got card number 42, Woman Holding a Coin. And we have got Goddess Oshun, Sweet Success. Yes, baby. I love the energy from your pile. My goodness. Powerful, powerful energy, powerful. What is coming off you? I mean, you've got some challenges that you have been facing for sure with this Hostilities card here. coming out in reverse though. So I feel like you are bossing it, really. Like you are super resilient. You have been maybe facing some trials and tribulations with other people. You've been facing some hostility, some defensiveness maybe from other people, something like that. But with the Persephone goddess here, you know, this is to do with like she was abducted by Hades and sent down into the underworld, but then she becomes queen of the underworld. So it's like you're turning those challenges and those hostilities and those issues around and making them work for you like a freaking queen. Yes, girl. Oh boy. My goodness, Pile 4, I'm so like impressed with your energy. It's like you're just alchemical masters. Like you're literally just letting like whatever's coming at you, it's just like pff, like you're just brushing it off your shoulders kind of thing. It's like Persephone is like full of so much. There's like so much in the unconscious realm. There's so much in your kind of so much creative potential in your unconscious. I feel like that's like ready, that you're kind of starting to tap into. And her message is very much about trusting that you have the resources within to make the most of any situation if you allow yourself to access them. And with women holding a coin as well, I feel like this is a lot to do with like resources and having that like inner richness. And like also kind of like as within, so without. So like if as you see yourself as being very rich within and very successful within and very full of potential and very creative, so will you start to see that manifest on the outside world, because we've got sweet success and woman holding a coin, which is like kind of saying whatever this creative project is that you're tapping into, that you're starting to birth into the world, whatever this creativity is that you're doing. And this woman here in this particular card, she looks like she's writing. So some of you could be working on a book project of some sort or some kind of writing. Maybe you're writers, you write for publications, magazines, or you're writing your own book, or you're a novelist, or whatever it might be. Or you might be creative in some other way, something that's like kind of using your hands, I'm seeing, like drawing or painting, or it could be anything, to be honest. It could even just be within your job, within like maybe you work for, you know, in a standard job, but you might do something that's a little bit creative, or you've been given some creative, what's the word, like creative leeway, I'm getting like leadership, like you're able to take the creative lead on a project, and that is going, it's the message from the goddess is like this is going to be very successful. What the cycle you're coming out of is like maybe one of hostilities, like maybe you've had to be like sort of fight people in order to get this opportunity, or in order to like tap into your creative voice. I feel like with hostilities in reverse and new birth guarded vigilantly, it's like whatever this creative project is that you're working on, whatever this sort of thing that's been in your subconscious that you're trying to bring forth, this potential, you have had to guard it very carefully because of the energies of other people. This is not to do with like your own healing work that you've needed to do. I feel like you guys are just bossing that. Like you're already the queen of the underworld. Like there's no like needing to descend. There's no needing to go into the underworld and do any of that kind of stuff. It's like, no. You're already there. You're already on that path. Like you know what you're doing. You're in the process of giving birth to something. It's other people's stuff that you've been dealing with. It's like hostilities is like other people who are coming at you with some kind of hostility or some kind of aggression or jealousy or problems or like just, I don't know, like trying to take your ideas. If you're in a creative team at work or something, like people have been hostile to you, like maybe they've been gossiping about you or they've been stealing your ideas, something like that. It's like there's been some need to stand your ground and guard something very carefully that you're working on. You know, this could be also, I'm picking up a vibe of, for some of you, maybe in the past when you've tried to tell people about your creative ideas, like maybe you've had an idea for a book or for something some kind of creative project and you've told people and they've been really like naysayers and they just don't give you any support for it, and they're like, like that's cool, like, okay, you're gonna do that, that's right, yeah, I'm like, you're a bit crazy, like crazy chicken oriental, like what is going on? I say that not as any kind of racist thing, I say that because someone actually said that to me once. That was their exact words about me working on some writing thing, was that I was chicken oriental. So, you know, like you've had it all. Like you've been getting left, right, and center, just people coming at you or energies coming at you. Again, this could be quite like projections that people are putting on you or something. Yeah, you know, it might even be happening like psychically, like like as in under the surface, like they're not verbally telling you this stuff, but they're just psychically sending you negative energy. Like anytime you are successful in any way, or anytime you try and put your work out there in some way. Some of you might be like, you might have your own platform, you might be content creators, and anytime you put content out there, you get sort of hostile energy, like you get negative comments from people online, or you get you know, something like that, like some kind of just psychic attacks or just stuff like that. But it's saying with new birth, it's like this new cycle that you're going into, whatever you're birthing at the moment, whatever creative project you're trying to get off the ground, whether again it's within your own artwork, your own creative project at work, it is going to be successful. You do have the resources that you need to bring the success about that you're looking for. And I feel, especially for those of you that are working on like a business at home, it is going to be financially successful. This is a huge like confirmation from spirit that like you are going to make coin, you are going to make money from this, like you are going to be successful, you're going to be financially successful and stable. So yeah, I mean, I feel like your pile is extremely straightforward. I might need to move on to tarot to get some more specific timelines, because the guidance is like pretty much just everything I've said. I don't think there's much more that I can really elaborate on. That was the Two of Wands trying to peek out there. So that's very much a case of like Wands are to do with like creativity and passion projects, and like the Two is like about kind of, yeah, see there it is there, like looking at that globe, like looking out over the horizon, seeing the potential for something, and then kind of like manifesting it into being. So actually maybe I'm going to leave that out as the first card. There you go, because it did pop out before, even though it was sort of pre-shuffle. But yeah, I think with all of you, it'll be slightly different as to what you're creating. I mean, some of you, it could be you're literally giving birth. This could be a sign that if you've been trying to conceive or have a baby, like you will be successful. You will be able to conceive, but it'll be a case of like having to keep that news quite quiet and guard it, because it's like, you don't want to expose the, like, for some reason it's like energy. You don't want to be exposed to like negative energy too quickly if there's like some energies around you that aren't supportive of it. But for others of you where it's more of a creative birth, it's a similar thing to a physical birth, in that like until a physical baby is conceived, I think it's been like after 3 months, you don't generally tell anyone except maybe your partner and maybe like your immediate family or something, but like you don't announce it publicly normally until after, I think it's the 3-month mark. I don't know, I've never been pregnant, but from what I hear from friends who've been pregnant, you don't normally tell people until after 3 months, because there's so much of a chance that of miscarriage or whatever it might be happening before that point. And so it's kind of the same thing with your creative ideas and your creative projects. Like don't tell people until you've been working on this for like a chunk of time, like a third of the gestation time, like until maybe the novel is like a third of the way complete, or the painting is like, you know, already kind of mostly painted or something. It's like, don't tell people yet, because their whatever energy they project onto what you're trying to create might like impact you being able to finish it and the final growth of it. So that's quite an important message. Let's just see if there's any other. Whoa, that flew out. Oh my goodness, Queen of Wands. Wow, beautiful energy. Yeah, look at that. She's like so successful. She's got this orange dragon here in the background, which is linked with the sacral chakra, which is all about creativity, passion, sensuality, like having that creative spark, like getting your creative juices going. And he's still got like smoke coming out of his nose, so it's like you're being taken on a ride right now by this creative dragon, by your like inner creative dragon. Like this energy is absolutely here for you to tap into. Woo! I'm getting such a like amazing energy from you, powerful. Like you guys are on fire. I want to know if this resonates for you and you are creating something. Please leave a message below, because I want to know what you're creating. I'm really nosy, and I love creative people. I used to work with creative teams in my old job back in my old life when I worked in corporate. In production, I was around a lot of creatives, and I love creative people. And I love hearing what kind of stuff, you know, creative people come up with. So I want to know what you're doing. Or maybe for some of you, it's a business. Like you're not so much a creator in the traditional sense of like, I'm a painter or I'm a writer. You may be doing something that's like, well, in fact, actually, it could be doing something to do with the subconscious. So it could be to do with like working with psychology or something like that. But you're going into business doing whatever it was that you were learning, something to do with going into the underworld or working with subconscious, working with like subconscious symbols, working with the dream world. Could be something like that. And it's like, this is kind of saying you're going to be, well, it's like triple message saying you're going to be successful. You've got Queen of Wands, you know, and she's got this like, you know, bunch of flowers, like someone's like sent her flowers, and she's just like all regal and got a crown on her head and got the wand in her arm, like I can create what I want, energy going on. And then, you know, Ocean, Sweet Success, and Woman Holding a Coin. It's like whatever this business project is that you're trying to create and manifest, like you have the energy to do that. Just guard it for now. Like just let the birth like just gradually grow, and you will get there. You will get that success. Yeah, just, oh my gosh, yeah, 10 of Wands. I feel like in this case, it's like, just keep going. Like there's just a little bit, you're nearly at the end of the cycle. Just keep going, and very, very soon you'll be able to put these burdens down. This like, you know, all these brooms that you've been carrying, all these wands, all this creative energy, you'll be able to rest it down. You're nearly at the top of your mountain. And then you will see the success and the recognition, the status and everything that you more than, I'm hearing like more than you could have ever dreamed of, you will receive it. So yeah, it's pretty incredible message. They're kind of saying that's it, but I'm being nosy and curious. And also I feel bad because the other readings went on a lot longer, although they were just in a really different place, because a couple of the other readings had quite a lot of healing to do still, or things to shift through, whereas I feel like for you guys, like it's less about shifting through your own stuff, and more about like having resilience. I mean, this 10 of Wands is very like you've got that resilience, like you've got that toughness to keep going until the end, and that endurance and perseverance. But it's like, it's more to do with like other people's crap, unfortunately, which I'm really sorry if you have had to deal with jealousy or gossiping, or, you know, if you're a content creator or whatever, and you've had like, what is it called when you get like spammed with it's not spammed, but you know what I mean, like there's a word for it, I've forgotten what it's called. But just naysayers, just like negative people, just being negative for the sake of being negative, and always know, and I think you already know this anyway, pile 4, like it's always saying more about them than it is about you. It's nothing to do with what you're creating. Most of the time, people who critique something are just jealous because they're not creating anything themselves. Because like if you think about it, if you're really successful and you're really loving your life and loving what you do, why would you ever feel a need to go on to someone else who's creating something and be really hostile to them? You just wouldn't. Like, you would have no motivation to do that. Like, you know, people who are genuinely loving themselves, respect themselves, love what they do, like they support other people, they shout out for other people, they give them, you know, like, yeah, like they throw flowers at them, like this Queen of Wands, they, you know, like lord them up. And that is going to happen for you, like whatever the scenario is that you've been through with that hostilities, like it is going to turn around and you're going to see your supporters eventually with whatever this thing is that you're creating. Woo, that one flew out. Page of Pentacles. Yeah, I mean, this is just another confirmation of like woman holding a coin. We've got the Page of Pentacles here. Like you are going to start making money from this. Like Page is kind of the sort of slightly more young and innocent energy in the court cards. But that's not to say like you're not going to kind of, I mean, you are a queen. You are going to become that sovereign of that. You are going to create that stability and security for yourself. But it's just like taking that step. Some of you might resonate with, I think it was pile 1 that I also used the Everyday Witch Tarot, and they also got Page of Pentacles. So like maybe there is a message there as well. Pile 1 was a lot to do with starting a spiritual based business. So for those of you that might be doing that, that might also have some messages for you. And it was about, I think it had like Page of Pentacles and then, I won't tell you. I won't spoil it in case you want to go and watch it. Let's see if there's any other messages for pile 4. 2 of Pentacles, juggling. Yeah, so I think this is more to do with actually finding balance. So it's like I feel like some of you are going to be quite busy, especially if you are having an actual baby. But if you're having a creative baby, it's like you are going to be juggling or needing to find balance between like that project and maybe your own personal life or like your relationships and you know, your creative life or something like that. There's a need to kind of maybe find a little bit of balance. It's with the figure 8, the infinity symbol, it's like that yin and yang. So it's like making sure that you're supporting yourself and finding balance for your inner life. I'm getting with some of you who are super creative that like you're not just outputting creatively all the time. Like an artist can't just 100% of the time put out. They also need to like top up their creative well with like absorbing other creations that other artists have made. So like allow yourself, like, I don't know, those of you who are creatives, you may well have heard of Julia Cameron's book, The Artist's Way. And she talks about like taking yourself on artist dates and like how important it is to like replenish your kind of artistic, I don't know what the word is for that, like artistic, like creation pot, like cauldron. I don't know why I'm getting a like very witchy cauldron. I'm seeing like a cauldron of like ideas that you just like kind of stir, and like you need to kind of like top that up. Like if you use everything up in that pod and you just like produce and put stuff out and put stuff out and put stuff out and treat yourself like a machine, which might happen if you become almost like a victim of your own success, it's like eventually you're going to kind of run out of ideas. And that's often what happens with like creatives who, it's almost like they become eventually so successful that they're kind of not in touch with anything, any material to draw on anymore, because they're just so busy being successful. So it's almost like just saying like, make sure you're taking time for yourself to kind of like replenish that like artistic cauldron, and like, you know, like take time out to like watch things that you like, and I don't know, maybe go to galleries, or like read, you know, if you're a writer, like read other things, and like, you know, just find that balance, I guess, is kind of the vibe I'm getting. And I'm gonna get one more card, and then we're gonna call it a day. Can I have a final message for pile 4? Final message. Woo. Yeah, Seven of Pentacles. I mean, I feel like a lot of this tarot stuff isn't really elucidating all that much more than what came out with the guidance cards. But anyway, it's still fun to look at the tarot cards, right? And we all like the tarot cards. So, hey. Seven of Pentacles, like you are working, I mean, this is just confirmation like of this, really. It's this whole energy of like something that you're guarding. You know, you can see the way she's looking at the like beautiful grapes, like, oh, are you ready? Like, oh, my pretty little grapes. And she's checking on them each day, like, are you ready to be pulled and made into wine yet? You know, I'm not sure, like, I'm just gonna leave you for a little bit longer. It's like tending the vines, tending the creative project that you're working on, allowing the energy to like grow, knowing when the timing is right to kind of like harvest it, you know. And again, that's just that whole thing of like the analogy I used about the birth and like the 3 months thing, and like just making sure that like you don't expose your creative ideas to hostilities just yet. Like you wait until it's just that little bit further grown, that little bit further along. It is growing, but there might be a little bit of an impatient energy coming from you, because sometimes with Seven of Pentacles, it can speak to like kind of looking at the plant being like, oh, like, are you growing yet? Like, can I pick you? Is it ready? Is it ready yet? Are we there yet? Like, come on. Like, it's like, I want it to be ready. I want it to be ready now. And it's kind of like it's saying like it's getting there. It's taking time. You're at 7. Like you're 7 out of 10. It's growing. The idea is conceived. You just need to keep working on it. I am getting that there might be something in the book which I can't remember. 1 second. I think it's over here. Here we go. Wild Woman Oracle. Here we go. So it was number 10. Card number 10. What creative idea or dream is ready to be nurtured and birthed into being? We had a double message of birth with new birth guarded vigilantly, and then the creatrix creativity. Yeah, regardless of the physical stage of life you are in, this creatrix invites you to get your creative juices flowing, whether through writing, painting, music, gardening, or beyond. While maintaining the childlike wonder of your maidenhood, she invites you to step into your full motherly feminine power to turn your airy, idealistic, and hopeful dreams into earthy material abundance. Yeah. Inspired by the Empress card in the tarot, the epitome of the mother archetype, Mother Goddess and Mother Earth herself, this young woman is activating her creativity on a moonlit night. Creativity is in itself a form of magic, or magic, M-A-G-I-C-K, like witchy magic, as it manifests an inspired idea, thought, or image from our mind's eye into the physical plane. Yeah, so as a previously wide-eyed, lively, and curious maiden, she stands at the threshold of becoming the creative, abundant, fertile, and immensely powerful mother who courageously risks and sacrifices herself to bring new life into the world, whether this be a career, passion project, or birthing an actual child. Like the little spider weaving her web, the maiden is about to weave the magical web of her own destiny. That's very much the Queen of Wands energy as well, manifesting your own destiny. And become the powerful mother, empress, and creatrix she is meant to be. Ah, beautiful. Yeah, so you're there, you're doing it, you're growing something. Like it's already conceived. It's just nurturing it and growing it into being. And one thing I did pick up on when I was reading that message is the sacrifice aspect. Like some of you may I feel like some of you are already doing this and you already know this, but like in order to bring this about, there may be some sacrifices that need to be made. Like if you're like looking at it being like, okay, like this, I want this book written, like, you know, or whatever it might, whatever the project is, it's like you might need to make some sacrifices in order to complete it. You know, in the same way that like a mother has to make, or a father has to make sacrifices to nurture their you know, their child, their newborn child. It's like, you know, that this project or venture is going to take a little bit of sacrificing initially, but like you'll have success in the long term. So like focus on the why, focus on why you've gone into this. Okay, my lovelies, I'm going to leave it there. I feel like that is all the messages that I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for your likes, for your subscribes. Please hit the notification bell if you haven't already to be notified when I next upload a reading. Please leave a comment below if this message resonated. I love reading your comments. I love hearing from you how each message resonates for different people, and all the best with this creative venture. I would love to hear what it is if you feel like sharing, but you don't have to, and hopefully I will see you in the next reading. All my love, bye.